To feed or not to feed? When is it hunger and when is it just harder? If you're in a place where you're confident that your child doesn't need night feeds anymore, perhaps that's a thing of the past, they haven't had feeds in the night for quite some time, or it's recently been done with, you feel like they get enough in the day, they're gaining weight healthily, you have no concerns and you're just certain that you're perhaps using it as a means to get them to sleep. You just know your child's getting enough is what I'm saying. And if you feel that way and you're confident, another reason you might feel confident is perhaps if you go to resettle them when they wake up at 11 p.m. or at 2 a.m, it's pretty easy to resettle. Maybe they resettle themselves, or maybe it doesn't take too much effort from you without any feed, just a little bit of comfort, reassurance, and they go back off to sleep at 11 or at 2 or some other times. But come 5 a.m, it's a big battle and you feel like that's the time when you need to feed. If another thing you want to look out for is if it takes a long time to resettle your child at sort of 4:30, 5 a.m, that could be a sign that it's harder. Or if your child settles at 4:30 or 5 without needing a feed and they resettle, they try really hard and they go to sleep, but then after 10 minutes, 20 minutes, they're awake again. No matter how hard they try, they're just awake again. That could be a sign that it's hunger. So there's a couple of really obvious signs for you. Those are more obvious ones, but what about when you just can't tell? If you're putting your child to bed, you're putting them to sleep, they're sleeping soundly, and then they're waking at about 4:30, 5 a.m, and you're wondering whether it's hunger or whether it's harder, then just ask yourself, does my child resettle themselves the rest of the time? i.e. the rest of the night? Are they resettling fine the rest of the night? And at this point, it's just really tough. If it takes a long time, but they actually will eventually go back off, definitely it's just harder. If you know they're getting plenty of food and there's no way that they could be hungry, it's definitely harder, not hunger. The only time I would suspect that it could be hunger would be if you are not confident that they're taking on enough calories, so you actually have a general suspicion that they quite rightly might be hungry at that time, or if they really do appear to be trying. Perhaps they are very good at putting themselves to sleep and they try, and you can see them even trying, but then after a small doze they're back up awake again. You know, those are signs of hunger. So ask yourself those questions and just know that when it comes to a child resettling, whether they do it themselves or whether they need your reassurance and your assistance to resettle, that when you go to them to help them resettle at 10 p.m, 12 p.m, 2 a.m, maybe even 3 a.m, it's going to be a lot easier than when it's 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. The closer you get to morning, the harder it is to resettle. And that goes with, you know, whether it's with parental help or without parental help. The closer you get to morning, the harder it is to resettle. So always know that when you're trying to decide, is it hunger or is it just harder at that time?